sense of calm that comes with the security of knowing that I'm David's only wife and I'm the only woman that he's ever going to love.
The security in your marriage really comes from you. I did think that it was more about him and him making me feel secure and showing me all the love. But I didn't know in those early years that it really is about me.
He wrote, Christine was the cutest girl in the world, although she was a little chubby.
I was pretty chubby.
But does size matter to you, Cody? I mean, were you grossed out by, you said she was chubby and she was eating the nacho cheese?
I will be honest, I was not attracted to Christine.
So you were not physically attracted to Christine?
That's an understatement.
You were grossed out by her?
I won't say that, but the nachos grossed me out enough to make me go, okay, I'm waiting to marry her.
How does it
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. I hope you're having a great day. It is obvious on Sister Wives that the ex-wives are moving on. But as they always say, the more things change, the more things stay the same. And in this case, one person is not staying the same. That's Christine. She's stepping into her new life. She has found a partner. She's found someone that is a good yin to her yang, I guess is what they would say. He's more laid back, mellow, kind of lets her take the lead. Christine's vivacious and strong personality is not diminished by her husband. She doesn't have to tamp down who she is. She can be bold. She can have opinions. She can be a person that's a woman that has a voice. I know it's weird in 2025 that would even be a thing. Some days I feel like we're going back into the dark ages, but Christine is trying to find a way forward in her life, and she's learning all types of things about life that she didn't get to do before, right? So she gets to make decisions she didn't get to make before. She gets to try substances and like alcohol, drinking coffee, all kinds of caffeine, the things that you can't have when you're a practicing Mormon in fundamentalism. She gets to get a tattoo. She can make big purchases if she wants to make big purchases. She can move if she wants to move. She can basically show her shoulders. She doesn't have to cover herself up all the time. She's free to be herself. And when you leave the confines of a religion that's high control, like the Apostolic United Brethren. I think people have a tendency, in my experience of covering this and other high control groups, it feels like people have a tendency to go one of two ways. They seem to go kind of all out and kind of wild out for a bit because the guardrails of the cult have left them. And so they lose their identity and they kind of don't even know where they're going. And they're just like, okay, I couldn't do this when I was in this group, so now I'm going to do everything. And then there's other people that leave and are a little bit more conservative and have a harder time dismantling their belief systems, and they stick to those belief systems. And I think that would be Meri. Honestly, Meri is still there. And I was thinking about something that she said in this episode that really got to me. It bothered me because it's the same thing that Meri has been saying for years. And even Janelle said something that got to me. And if Christine is going to be able to move forward in her life and have a successful life ahead of her and not get trapped in the groupthink and the toxic system that she came from, she has to surround herself by other people that are outside of that world. Okay. And so relationships that are in that world are going to be harder and harder and harder for her to maintain the further away she gets from it. Janelle and Christine's relationship, although on the surface appears very close, I'm venturing to think that at this point in time, they're not as close as we would think they are. They live in completely different states. They don't celebrate the holidays together anymore. They're not as involved in each other's lives outside of the show. And I don't even know if without the show how close they would be. I'm sure they would still care about each other, but if they didn't have to work together, they might not have to do these scenes together. You know what I mean? And it does appear very much as you're watching that things are going in completely different directions. And it feels disconnected, discombobulated. And we are 17 episodes, 18 episodes into this season, and I'm seeing one thing and one thing only. The only person that is actually free from this belief system is Christine. So Christine has had a really challenging marriage with Cody, right? It was basically Cody wanting a third wife because after number 3, you can reach the celestial kingdom in their belief system. It's like the first level. And he was eager to get those 3 wives all locked in, right? And when he got her, I mean, she liked him. And so he was apparently reluctant to be with her because apparently he wasn't attracted to her. And I actually believe him when he says that with how he treated her. So Christine now in her new relationship made a comment about how she feels secure now, not knowing that she doesn't have to like compete with anyone else and that she's secure in the fact that she's David's only wife and that she can be at peace with not having to have that chaos surrounding her. And Meri made a comment and she said that security doesn't come from someone else in a relationship, it comes from her. And then Janelle said that it's comparison that's an issue. So listen to this.
The security in your marriage really comes from you. I did think that it was more about him and him making me feel secure and showing me all the love. But I didn't know in those early years that it really is about me.
I learned early on, don't compare, right? Jealousy and comparison are the death in plural marriage. So you kind of figure out who you are and you get really comfortable with who you are. And that gives confidence, I think.
What really hit me the most about this point, and this is literally the only reason I'm making this video, but it was this moment when I was watching this episode where I was like, it is like watching the rest of us out here in the outside world. And that's Christine. Okay. So you're Christine and she's us. We're out here in the real world. We don't live in the cult anymore. And we kind of understand things in the way that the world works. Right. And then you have Janelle and Meri that are still like under the cloud of the faith. And their belief systems about relationships are clouded by that belief system. And Christine made a comment that was absolutely true, right? She said that one thing that gives her a lot of security in her relationship with David is to know that she's his only wife and that because she's his only wife, she doesn't have to worry about the other people that are competing for his attention. She doesn't have to compete for his attention. She doesn't have to constantly think of ways to be seen, to be more perfect, to be valued. She doesn't have to think about what she has to do to stand out. She doesn't have to think about how she's going to survive. She doesn't have to think about having to navigate making choices without having a partner there. Because in a relationship that's of equal partnership, your partner provides you a sense of security because you can count on them. You know that they're going to be there for you. You know that no matter what you do and say, they're going to support you. You know that you're accepted unconditionally by them and that there's not a checklist that you have to do in order to be more accepted by them. And you don't have to hear things like, you're so gross. I wasn't attracted to you. You ate disgusting chili cheese nachos. I was never attracted to you, but then I learned to become attracted to you. You don't have to hear things like that. You don't have to hear things like, you are not a good sister wife. All you cared about was me. You wanted only me. You didn't want the family. You don't have to be reminded that someone else is doing a better job than you at being a wife, because the only purpose in your relationship is to be with that one person that you have. And just to sort of give you clarity here so that you understand where I'm coming from. So marriage.com has this article about what security is in a relationship. And this is what they say. A sense of security in a relationship feels like unconditional love and friendship. You feel respected. You don't feel the need to constantly prove yourself. You have a low fear of judgment. You know you are seen for who you are, your whole authentic self. And when you make a mistake or have a bad day, your character isn't questioned. And you have confidence in the long haul. You don't have to overthink their presence in your life. You just know they're going to stick around. Insecurity in relationships can come from a lot of different things, like being afraid of failing, lack of confidence, need to be perfect, lack of personal fulfillments. But a sign of a secure relationship would be there's no jealousy, there's not chaos in the relationship. You don't fight because you're both on the same side. There's a fair compromise, and you have respected boundaries. Unhealthy relationships, it says, are insecure. They're often chaotic and unpredictable. When it talks about fighting on the same side, it means like you don't fight because you know and arguments are not against each other. It's the couple as a team against the problem. Therefore, heated discussions are also carried out empathetically because you're in it together. You can find compromise, you respect each other's boundaries, there's no chaos. So what Christine is saying is accurate. Like she's saying, like, I can trust him, I can count on him. I don't have to worry about jealousy. There's not chaos, it's simple. We do things together, we make choices together. And she's experiencing what appears to be a healthy relationship. And then Meri comes in and says, look at the mountains, Christine, look at the mountains. It kind of reminds me of when Christine was having problems with him in season 2 or 3. And Meri just told her that she has to work on herself, that guys can take a long time to figure things out. She might always have to be wrong because Cody's always right. Cody might never, ever, ever admit he's wrong. And she has to just focus on herself and be a better person. This is the foundational flaw of the teaching of this cult that makes relationships impossible because there's no accountability for the guy. And for Meri to carry this through and then to try to look back at her years with Cody and say that she had security in her marriage, it's clearly obvious to those of us that are watching from the outside that there isn't security and they never had security because Meri couldn't have security with Cody because there was jealousy, there was chaos. She didn't know if he was going to stick around for the long haul because he was always looking for other women. They couldn't fight fair because they weren't on the same side because he had other voices and women that he was dealing with, and she never was on the same ground as him. They weren't in it as a team. It was like, you can't be a team when there's all these other players. There's 5 people in that relationship. You're not going to ever feel secure because there's always going to be that thought that he likes someone else more. And even being secure in yourself isn't going to give you security in that marriage because the foundations of security aren't there. Cody didn't have healthy boundaries. He didn't respect boundaries. He didn't compromise. He's clearly creates jealousy. He creates chaos. You're not allowed to be authentic because Cody's always demanding that you be something else. So on the one breath, Meri can say things like, I really hope Christine finds the love that she didn't have with Cody with David, which is true. Meri's recognizing that Christine did not have the love that she deserved with Cody. And on the other hand, she can say, I know that I was secure in my marriage because I was secure with myself. And I feel bad for her because she's regurgitating what the cult has told her and tells her when there's a problem in the relationship. Owen Allred taught her as a child that if her husband didn't love her, she had to evaluate what she was doing and why her behavior was causing him not to love her. Doesn't that sound familiar to Cody saying, blame yourself if I don't love you? And then Janelle says, again, with a failed marriage here with Cody, 2 failed marriages. Obviously, she had a first husband. But she says that I learned very early on not to compare, and then you can find your happiness. There's no way that you can say that you were ever secure in your relationship because when you go back and look at their book that they wrote and all the fighting that happened between Janelle and Meri and Cody, and Janelle left like 4 times, 3-4 times. One time she was gone for like 4 or 5 years. In the way they try to spin it in the book is that she just took a break and she was always still with Cody, and that's just not true. But she says that comparison is the thief in the death of plural marriage. Again, something spun by a man telling a woman that she just needs to accept what she gets and be happy with what she gets and be grateful and not feel entitlement. If you tell a woman that she's not entitled to like feel respect and have boundaries and feel like she's a team with a partner, there's never going to be security. There's no sense of security in these relationships. Okay. So my point in this video is to say this. Christine is on another she's like on another level, right? She's leveled up in her world. She's out of the cult. And she's out of the cult thinking, and she has a relationship where she's finally understanding what it means to have a secure relationship. She feels safe. She feels seen. She feels heard. Her partner seems to love her, adore her. They work well together. It doesn't mean it's a perfect relationship, but they know that they're in it together. And she's going to have a harder and harder time being around people like Meri, who she doesn't want to be around because Meri's like a mean girl, or even Janelle. Because Janelle and Christine, the further that Christine evolves and gets away from the cult, and even though Janelle's not involved in it per se, she hasn't left the mindset. It's going to be harder for them to connect because they're not going to be able to have security in their friendship, because even in their friendship, there's things they can't talk about because it upsets Janelle because of their belief systems being vastly different. It's like two people are still trying to hold on to the idea that plural marriage or polygamy can work. And then one person's saying, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And oddly, Cody, on the other hand, is with Christine and saying it doesn't work. I don't know if Cody actually thinks it doesn't work or if he's just saying that now because he failed and he's just, it doesn't work. I don't know. But it seems odd that two women that have left, that were not met didn't have their needs met in relationships, didn't have security in their relationships, would somehow still defend polygamy and suggest that the security that she feels isn't actually what security is. They still have a ways to go. And I don't know if they'll ever get there. I don't know if they're ever going to let go of that, because this is programmed into Meri. Clearly, she still thinks that if she's a better person, everything else around her will be better. But that relationships don't live in the sphere of one person. Both people have to work on it together. Meri's views are toxic, very toxic. And that's why I get worried about her influencing other people and trying to get them to worthy up. Because all she's going to tell you is that it's your responsibility. And then nobody else is responsible. And so if a relationship doesn't work, it's your fault. It's toxic. I'm just glad to see Christine thriving, moving forward. I'm glad to see that she has a partner. The season kind of started off rough with my questions about their marriage and their relationship, but I'm feeling better about it. They seem happy. They're still together. They seem cool. She seems content. And that's really all that matters. But Janelle and Meri just cannot let go of that polygamy thing. And if you were to ask me today if Meri has let that go, no. She was on TikTok a week ago, defending polygamy and saying it can still work. So no, she hasn't changed that mindset. I hope Meri actually gets therapy and deprograms. She might actually become an amazing person. But for Christine, I'm so glad and happy for her happiness. And I hope for her well-being and her mental health, she distances herself from people like Meri. And even if, I'm sure she loves Janelle, but I'm sure there's distance there now because of the separate lives they're leading. And I can see more distance in the future. But what are your thoughts? Love to hear them. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.